guys, and welcome to yet another wonderful episode of the 145 booth, where we're talking about mental health and specifically for the creatives. And hope that you've been following the conversation. It's been going on pretty well, and we've had a number of guests who have come and told us their stories about mental health. And I hope that one way or another they're helping you to just understand what is happening in the world of the mental space for the creatives. My name is Lydia Ndwiga, and I will be your host. And today, again, we have another wonderful creative. As usual, I don't introduce them because I might not do any justice to them, but today I want to introduce to you our guest for today, Norris Kabembe.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Unaendelea poa?
Niko poa mazee.
Unataka kutuambia wewe nani?
Mimi kama ulivyosikia kwa majina naitwa Norris Kabembe.
Tuma salamu, tuma salamu
kwa watu wangu wa pale Mombasani. My stage name is Revolutionary Speaker. That's the name you'll find outside there.
Come on now.
Yeah, I thought you'd forget. That's the name outside there. I'm a poet, writer, an actor. I'm just in the creative space doing my thing, yani.
You're doing everything that creatives do.
Nilikusikia
ukiongelea about EPs, and I was like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, nowadays poetry is packaged in a way that you can stream on your streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So I do that too. I also coach kids in performing arts at various schools.
Advertise kapsa.
Within the
Yeah, please say the word, pronounce the word that has the letters POEM.
Poem.
Oh my gosh. Habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Croissant? How do you say croissant?
Croissant.
Okay.
Natuma salamu kwa watu wangu.
We can be friends.
Yeah.
We can be friends.
Yeah.
All right. So what does mental health mean to you?
Mental health. It to me means the sort of well-being, emotional well-being, psycho well-being, and being in a place where you are like okay. Yeah. And I think mental health runs the rest of the health that are there. I think it's up there, then now physical and all that. It has a lot of effect on the rest of the health that exists.
And earlier on, we were just talking with you and just trying to figure out, is mental health similar to what physical health looks like for you? Like, are there any differences, or should we treat it in the same way, or is there a way we can categorize them and maybe make one of them a little bit special than the other? Because basically in the society, that's what we've been told, if you, sorry to use this and maybe it might trigger a bit of people, like when you have cancer, it might not be a big deal as much as when you're found walking on the streets without shoes. So do you think that we have as a society categorized the different kind of health that can be there, and especially between the mental health and the physical health, and do you think one is better than the other, or one is higher than the other?
I think we should give a kidogo tu priority to mental health, kidogo tu. Why? Because I think sorry to use this example, we recently lost a friend who's a creative, and one of the last interactions not even me, a friend had with him, he had lost the fight. He was in a bed, hospitalized, and he lost the fight because alikuwa amechoka tu na kupambana na hiyo ugonjwa. It was treatable. He could have walked again. But because he lost that will to mentally pick himself up, that was the beginning of his deterioration. And in a week he went, So I guess then that puts mental health in a kidogo pedestal. And we should be more careful of that. And the society needs to look at it a bit more differently and careful in terms of how we approach it, how we talk about it, how we care for mental health patients. Because most of the times the physical ugonjwas get to us because
we've lost the fight.
They've lost the fight already in the head. So it's just manifestation and you're gone, or worse.
I don't know if it's called a placebo. I don't know, where they usually try different medicines on different patients. So one of them, you're actually told this is a drug that is going to cure your disease, but all that is in it is sugar. And another one is actually given the proper trial of the medicine.
Yes,
I think they try to see how the mental health state of that patient is. And the person who's just taken just sugar. And I mean, even before this, we were talking about a story of a woman who was given a drop of water to go sort out her issues. And she actually thought that she was okay. Yeah. So I think, as you're saying, yes, mental health is the beginning of basically how the physical health goes through with it. And just to ask, so how do you think your space in your mental health has helped you or interrupted your craft?
I think it I like the question. It has both helped and interrupted. Helped because in the places it has put me in the pits I've been, it has like sort of been the bedrock of my favorite pieces of work, you know. And at the same time, it has also interrupted, especially in terms of consistency, where your peers are chucking out things back to back, and then you're doing one thing in a year or two things in a year, you know, because all this time you're trying to fight imposter syndrome, you're trying to fight anxiety, you're trying to fight many other things. So it has helped in terms of like being the bedrock of inspiration. And it's that time of isolation where you get to tap into, you know, that realm of ours that comes at 3 a.m.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and do the you at the end of it, you're like, okay, this is pretty. It's pretty nice. Yeah, so it has been playing both an interrupting and a catalyst role. Do you want me to get into details?
Do you want to?
I mean,
yeah,
what on
it's
your
a safe space. Yeah, that's why it's the 145 booth.
Yeah, okay.
Booth where you're safe.
I'm trying to pick a scenario where I can give an illustration. But yeah, I'll remember.
Yeah,
I'll remember.
So when you talk about the pits, I mean, we all, like, I'll come and ask you, Norris, how you doing? Niko salama nashukuru, which is good, but the gratefulness is one of the greatest things that you can do every day, because it's not all loss. Like, yes, we may be going through so much, but there's always that one thing that you can actually go back and be grateful for. You talk about the pits, not necessarily having to give us a specific scenario, but if you want, you can. What do you struggle with when it comes to your mental space? What are the things that, because there's a lot of classifications in terms of when it comes to mental health and whatnot. Someone will talk about depression, someone will talk about their traumas, someone will talk about stress. Those stress is usually the first indication of what needs to be. Are they heart palpitations that are caused by anxieties? What is it that you probably have found yourself really struggling with that you would call a pit?
Wow. Stress is there. Stress is very dominant. I know that because I stress eat a lot. The days unangalia wow the M-Pesa transactions have been, you know,
KFC, pizza in
quick, and it's always the junk, by the way.
That's what stress eating is about. Junk. Who stress
junk.
eats with, I don't
Ugali,
know, ugali
managu,
or broccoli, or
you know, omena. Guys, don't, if you stress it with omena, maze, that's the wrong thing. Go for get a therapist. But for me, it's stress. It's been also anxiety, because one of the greatest challenges we face as creatives, unless you're in an establishment that has like a creative agency or whatever, you are always trying to figure out what next. What's my next paycheck coming from? So that whole time you're waiting for the next gig. By waiting, I don't mean that you how to me applications. You're doing that, but it's not coming. You can't control that. You can only do as much.
And then we have seasons.
Yes.
Where the gigs really come.
Yes.
And there are seasons when there's
So those periods of waiting can really have you questioning, why did I do this? Ninga tu medicine vile mmoja alisema, you know, sengi kwa tu mahali na tribu wase.
You can get your paycheck every end of the month and you're sure and guaranteed it's coming through.
So then that has, like, those times where I'm not doing anything, and then you go online and your peers are on set, you know, You go Kontao, your friend is on a billboard, that's the first billboard you meet, you go, buda nakuchekia pa koja maze,
Situende Serena kidogo.
so it's those things that, as much as you say, oh, it can't get to me, I have thick skin, but we are humans.
Yeah, we are all human.
Yes, it has to get to you. Then now you're like, okay, no, it's not, it doesn't have to be like that, you know. And that is a thing I think most creatives struggle with. That, damn man, I've just done a show, tumerap, tumelipwa, do imeisha,
shalipa bills,
but now where's the next month coming from, you know. And that's the point where most guys get to now. That moment of what next drives so many into depression, and like people even getting to analyze themselves, because it's so hard to understand. I am good. I mean, I'm good at my craft.
Yeah. And I keep sharpening it as often as I can.
This dude, this role, I can beat him at an audition. Why is he the one getting roles back to back, and I'm just here, you know? And that is I have had that also. There's this time last year that I auditioned for a role, and that role was, this is mine. Yeah, because I'd done a similar role before, and I thought, I can do this. So I went for the audition, and I missed it. And that's the first time missing a role really got to me. It got to me, Nico. What do you mean I missed this role?
What didn't I do right?
What didn't I do?
Yeah.
And I was meeting the casting director. I'm looking at him like, unajua ningefanya kitu, but why? And then for a whole like 3 or 4 months, I was not auditioning anything. I was just at home. Okay, doing other things, but I'm not auditioning. Yeah. And then it took time for me to realize, I'm still hurting from that audition, because nilikuwa tu nasikia audition niko niendeni buda niendeni, then nika figure out, I'm still hurting from that. Then I think I opened up to a friend of mine, and it's like, bro, I've been there too. And then we had this convo and we cracked jokes about it, and I was like, okay, it's okay, because this guy, friend of mine, is a G in the game. So I was like, you too? I mean, you?
Yeah.
They can reject you? Of all people?
Yeah,
Mimi sawa, but you? Nikacheki, okay, it's not unique to me. Even the best of the best get rejected.
Yeah.
And we had a whole therapeutic conversation, and I went home feeling okay.
So basically rejection is not a reflection.
Wait, kuna maji hapo?
So rejection is not a reflection of what your craft is about.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
It's just rejection.
It's just rejection.
You don't fit. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many times we get rejected, and I know it's the hardest thing to tell someone, go try out something on your own.
Yeah.
If you're waiting to be a host, speaking from experience,
Yeah.
I mean, there are free things that you can actually do. You can shoot a podcast and just keep talking and just practicing whatever it is that you're able to do. Though that advice doesn't look practical at the point when you're going through so much. And just to give a disclaimer, the 145 booth is not a substitute for therapy. So if you feel like you need help with that, please seek professional help. And so I'm going to ask you a question that will be in line of that disclaimer.
Yeah.
I know everyone exhibits different symptoms when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
What are the symptoms that you experience when you know you're about to have, I don't know if I could call it an anxiety attack or an anxiety period where you're now down and you're thinking, So what are those symptoms, and when do you actually know, hey, it's time to start a self-awareness journey? Because we talk about self-awareness as that, like now what you said, you realized that the reason why you're not going for interviews or for the auditions is because you're still not crying over, but you're looking back and you're thinking, even though I go, but deep down you actually don't know that is what is affecting you. But when you sit down and you're typically self-aware and you ask yourself, why am I not going for any more auditions? That's when you go back, right? So what are those two symptoms that you actually get, and when do you know that it's getting out of hand and I need to do something about it so that I don't end up in the spot of not chasing for what I really want?
Funny enough, it's never a linear, like it doesn't happen the same way all the time. sometimes you don't even realize it's this what you're going through, like the pre whatever is a manifestation of what's about to come. So I'll be lying if I say I know how it always comes.
Heart
Sometimes it just
palpitations,
hits me,
yeah,
by surprise. Unajipata, oh yeah, I'm on that point. But I'm also grateful for the friends I have, especially the female friends who are really like very open to this whole thing and understanding, and they're always quick to point out a change in behavior or an eating pattern. They're like, okay, today you had this much, yeah, then you go, oh yeah, by the way, so what's going on? So at a way you realize that you've had, you know, more,
and
than,
at least you don't have friends who come and tell you, "Hey, unakula sana."
yeah for them it's those things. Yeah, so it's either I'm not eating, or I'm eating much. They
A
go,
bit too much.
yeah, what's wrong? Or we go to a restaurant and my favorite thing in that place, I'm not ordering it. So like, today you won't order that. Yeah, what's going on? So I'm saying I'm grateful, or rather privileged, to have those kind of people around me to help me notice those things, because that means sometimes I don't know that I'm actually heading there, you know. And also there's just the whole quiet, the quiet periods you move towards. Yes, I like my quiet. I may be quiet for fun, just chill and be quiet and not talk anything the entire day. It's not always an indicator, but if that happens, then I snap out, Nico. Oh wait, why? Let's jiongea, you know, because when you live alone, you won't realize these things. Yeah, so there are those quiet periods that are coupled up with a lot of thoughts. Then now I have to step out and say, okay, what's going on, and try to figure out where is that coming from, or just go out and randomly meet people, trying to see, you know, the way that when, okay, I don't know if that story still exists. When you're growing up, there was this joke about the Luos, how they cook the ugali, because I grew up in the coast. So kwa tunaambiwa ati when they want to test if the ugali is nini, they throw it on the walls, jiki stick, and there was jaiva ikipul. I don't know, I don't remember. But that's the kind of thing I do. I go outside and try to throw ugali and see how I'm responding socially to people. Yeah, because also, again, social anxiety is one thing I think I've accepted. No, that's bad to say, but I'm aware.
You're aware
that I can be socially awkward, and it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So that means then I may be in spaces and you notice I'm there because I'm avoiding all you guys. But I was there.
You were there.
I watched the show and I left before you noticed I was there.
But I was there.
And I saw you guys having fun. But
there's something my mom always says: you are your best doctor.
Yeah,
you're the one who's first. Even your friends, as much as they care about you, how much they want to be there for you, they can't really notice what is going on with you if you don't know. Someone could come and tell you the truth about what they're observing, but if you don't know that's what actually happening, you're like, no, fine, right? So that self-awareness is important. So let's talk about gender-based violence. So I am seeing you are, if I call you an ambassador for the same, like you're very in it for now, relating it to everything else that you do. So let's talk about that. What is gender-based violence? Because I think it's affecting quite a bit of the generation that we are in, and even the generations before us. And until maybe not too long ago, was it classified as one of the things that is actually causing a lot of the mental illnesses happening around us.
Yes.
So what is gender-based violence according to you, and to what you, I don't know, work with the people who are around you? Well, how would you describe gender-based violence?
I think gender-based violence, on the very basic definition of it, is then acts of violence committed in setups that like the violence is driven by the party that commits it feeling the sort of right or justify to do it based on the gender of the other person, of the victim. It has been manifested in many ways historically, and I dare say nobody spared. Even the men,
unfortunately,
are suffering. And unfortunately, another unfortunate thing is that then these stories of theirs don't really get to see the light of day,
because we have expectations for what a man should be in society, which is unfortunate. Well, expectations are not bad, it's just anyway.
And most, or rather, this whole GBV issue, every time I look at it, I again dare say that it's a lot rooted in our social culture. It's a culture issue. And even as we do our work in terms of creative storytelling around it and fighting it, we realize what first we need to focus on changing is that culture. Is that what do we see when you look at it? Because
what looks like the norm.
Yes, because now a culture shapes the perception, and the perception shapes the reality. Watu wa nyumbani, in case hiyo imewapita, replay. So there's a lot of that needs to be fixed pole pole or haraka haraka, and hence what the works we do like Womine to try and change how people look at things. And I got the privilege to witness promptly how that works. Like kuna walitoka when we had the show, kuna watu walitoka show and immediately began correcting what they were doing. There are guys who came out there weeping, like they felt this is what poetic is doing to the women. I didn't realize this. And they went on apologizing to every other lady they were meeting. There's a chick who went to the same camp I went to. She came out of the show, came to the back room when we were changing, and she was calling the person who had recently abused her, hapo, and calling him out. So it was a whole moment. I thought she was joking. She came and she was like, you know what, guys, I'm calling my abuser. And she called him hapo, and other friends of her who knew the abuser and never knew he had done what he did now joined in the whatever. And I guess I'm not sure, but it's also a personal thing from school. But it was an immediate impact for me to do it sit there and then. And it was really heartbreaking to realize how much more we need to do this kind of conversations.
You talk about the show. Would you want to tell us what show this is?
Okay. You mentioned about Womine Experience is a show. It's a poetic concept show that we've been doing. We've had 3 shows that we did 2024. Last year.
Just in case you're wondering when last year was.
In case wado ko December. Last year 2024. And the show is centered around GBV and assault stories. We are trying to create awareness and speak against it.
Which means it's necessary for us as a community to actually talk about these things, because some of them look such taboos. Like, I mean, if I go online and start saying this and this has happened to me, I can trust you that you will trust me, one or the other. I will get phone calls. Like, why did you go on social media to talk about this? This would have been something that would have sorted out in-house or something like that. So anyway, just to go back to that, someone will say, Nasija kugonga. And why are you calling this GBV, you know? And even when we are reporting the cases, it's usually kasababu nimegongwa, I have been hurt, my eye is swollen. When it's too much, because I want to believe that violence is not just shown in physical, it's also the emotional that comes with it. Is it true, or should we start a place where we can actually report emotional abuse or something like that? So basically, when it's too much,
there's a line in the opening poem of the show that says, this goes out to all the women who are getting verbally stabbed. It's no longer a surprise. So verbal violence is sort of what always begins showing you the signs that you're heading towards a not very good place. What is too much is that one small thing that person will do. Other line I'll keep doing this. Other line in a poem in the show says, daughter, when you're 18, I'll teach you about colors, about white flags, yellow flags, green flags, and that any man raising his voice at you is a red flag, because then those small verbal or non-verbal cues usually now begin or head towards that physical violence. So that one small thing that raises voice for some people, that insult on you, that attempt to slap, that banging of the door, that small thing is too much. So if you're in that space, then you need to notice it and put in necessary action, either to prevent it growing or address it. Sit the woman down or sit the man down and jana ulifanya hii and it made me feel insecure or threatened or whatever.
Or jana, you grabbed my hand in anger, I didn't like what you did.
Yes. And funny enough, some of these things that people do, they're not aware they're doing it, especially the verbal ones. And I guess then there's need for that open conversation, because even if you're friends and I do a joke about whatever, and you feel I feel this guy's crossing that boundary, I won't know that whatever I've said, you're my friend,
you're my friend, boys. So tell me.
Uni boys. But kumbe hiyo kitu imekukumbusha about something, or it made you feel sexualized, you know. So if you don't address it, then or
it's okay. I can say it again. And we'll keep saying the same thing.
Yes.
And then we end up not being friends because you didn't tell me what your boundary
because
looks
you no longer feel comfortable around me. But me as genuinely do niko tu mdem sikiza akiji distance. So there's like opportunity for sisi wote to collectively and intentionally like share and teach each other about where that
line is,
that thing, that too much happens or begins, that small thing.
All right, so the topic of GBV is a very tough one, and I think it has rocked our country quite a bit in the past couple of years, I believe, and so much has been happening around it, and it cannot be easy, because even when I'm watching stories about people who've been violated by their spouses or by someone who's close to them or by just a random person, it actually triggers you. It triggers you quite a bit. So how do you deal with that? Because it must, I don't know, it must affect your personal life. It must affect your creativity. How do you deal with that? And why did you choose that? Because it's a pretty, out of everything else, you chose GBV. Why that direction? And how do you deal with that so that it doesn't affect, the good parts of your creativity?
I think I chose that direction because of the money. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to get shocked. I was about to look at you for wait.
Oh my God.
Cut now. Wow. Okay.
Goodness gracious.
It was getting too serious.
Okay. It's to have that contribution to that initiative. Especially as a dude on this other side. And like have that my stand as a creative first, and as again as a dude, because again most of these conversations are usually run from the women side, and probably there are people who don't get to hear that because they dismiss it in some cultures where like that culture of wanaongea tu,
they're like that,
but probably there's a guy who will listen to me because I'm another guy telling him, you know what, you're being shite, you need to stand up and be what you're supposed to be, protective and be loving and being, caring to this woman. What's
basically
the point?
being different,
and we need to change that, how that is perceived through these stories we tell, you're right about the things being sensitive.
It's a very sensitive
And
topic.
even for us creatives, or particularly me and my team as we're doing the show, it always got to us, even when we thought tumezoea, tumeandika, tumerias, nini. But the show comes and it gets to you on stage. But the beautiful thing about that is then it then shows how genuine we are and how truthful we are with what you're saying. What we're doing after that is usually there are rituals, that actors or theatre people do.
Should I start living? Rituals, okay, no kidding.
That they do to just let go, or ease their brains.
Yeah.
And we used to have those sessions pre-show and also not pre-rehearsals and after rehearsals and pre-show, where we just get to step outside mentally and put ourselves in a place where we can handle that material. There was initiative to have the team meet like a professional therapist or mental health practitioner. We faced some challenges, some administration challenges, I want to call them that. But that is in the pipeline to have everyone who was in the show get to see a professional, because what we realize at ACC as we do it to go, okay, see, at ACC here we are part of the victim list of the things we are talking about. There are people in the lineup of the creatives we're working with who had gone through the stories in the particular way I'd fictionalized the stories. It was amazing to see the coincidence, but it was also damn. That why do we have to have people experience this and work with this? Yeah,
Man, it's tough.
It's tough.
But there's something I usually say.
Yeah.
The people who've gone through it are actually the best to work with you.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to do here. Just create a community where I don't want to use the Me Too just randomly, because it was a very big movement. But even me, I have gone through this. Hence, I can be able to help you.
Yeah.
And even though I haven't necessarily had to go through the rough of it, there's something that I can do to help you. You know, we might be struggling with different parts of our mental health, but in one way or another, we are able to help each other, right?
Yeah.
So maybe to just ask, what is the voice of the creative in the mental space? And basically the things that are affecting us as a community that we have classified as a taboo, the things that we need to now start talking about that are actually affecting us.
Yeah.
And before we had said how, sorry to say this, but with the older folks, nini na kustress?
Yeah.
Chukua, I don't know, take a walk.
Yeah.
Look at what you're eating
job.
in my house. Unalala the whole day. What do you mean you're stressed? Yeah. So what's the voice of the creative? Because I know the creative industry has very many ways of reaching people.
Yeah.
So what's our voice in the mental health space, and probably just speaking about the taboos that are happening? Because even creatives are actually going through GBV.
Yeah.
It's just that we try to get lost in creating things that will help us forget.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that our mental space is not in trouble, right? So what's the voice of the creative? What more can we do to make mental health more how we can help other people to be more self-aware that we are actually going through these things? What's the voice of the creative in all that?
I think in the very basic of things that the voice of the creative is breaking it all down, taking it away from the buzzwords, taking it away from the technical terms that people use on TV every morning, take it away from all that glam for the gram and for the grant, and just bring it down bring it down to that one simple thing that your audience can quickly relate to and tap into and realize that, okay, this is the place where I am. Because these convos have been there.
They've been.
Yeah. But the impact is different when the creative is involved, and it's simplified and made easy to grasp, because then art is very spiritual in the way it taps into people and impacts people, and creatives then have a role to do the hard work of digging and finding information about these things and how they happen, the different versions or the different conditions people are going through and states they're in, and put that in a story or in a presentation or in a performance, and just channel it in the way these people will get it. When I was younger, kuna wase, I don't know if they still exist, wanaitwa SAFE, SAFE. So there's Safe Pwani, Safe whatever, Safe whatever, Safe whatever. There's shows about HIV sort of awareness. And I'd see these pop-ups mtaani, and they come do a very simple story, and people in the mtaa show up in a kawanja somewhere and watch and laugh and whatever. But at the end of the day, these people talking about like the stigma HIV people go through and all that. And I was young, na nilikuwa na get wase wanasema nini.
You know, right?
That time ngenambia this is stigma, this is how it affects da. I would never have grasped that. Na hawa ni watu wa mashinani walikuwa naletewa hizi concepts. So nikigrow up nika understand, oh okay, so this is how you should treat people living with this condition. It's okay to shake their hands, it's okay to eat with them,
and it's okay to sit next to them. It's okay to be friends with them.
They have a right to live as anyone else. And if their kids, in school who are going this, like, hold their hand through those very simple small stories that have broken down all this gigantic concept that is there to that palatable form that we can all consume. When I was in high school, we lived with a guy who was living with that, and he never opened up to us. We knew when he had passed on. Damn,
this guy is real.
Yeah. So it's a very turnaround moment for us that, wait, I thought we were boys, but he never felt safe to let us know that he was like living in that, because again of the stigma that comes with it. And it being high school, tukoma to wadogo, and I was just thinking about how many other GBV conditions, stories people have, many other mental health conditions people have, but because of the stigma and the not safe space that like the unsafe space they're in, they can't come out. And now that's where again the voice of the creative comes and creates that space where people are feeling, okay, I'm understood, okay, I'm not alone, okay, this person also went through the same thing. And it's just healing doing it on this other side. It's healing because for us the performance itself was healing. It was the first time these stories were coming out. So mtu anafikiria unapiga show, but basically you're letting people know you're coming out.
And also letting the creative express themselves in a human way. I have had so many times when ni mwanamuziki so utasikiza tu music and you will be fine, and I'm thinking actually right now I just need silence or watch a movie or something like that. So let me just throw a scenario at you. The other day I was watching a movie, and of course it's acting. It's acting, but it was a very intense scene, and a child was actually in it. And I remember just thinking in my head, are these kids normally given a therapist to deal with them? Because for kids their level of understanding might not be the same for us. Sometimes they might not be able to differentiate this is acting and this is real life. So they might grow up with that trauma or that tension that normally happens in such, because even me when I'm watching that part, I'm thinking this is intense. How about a child who's actually being groomed how to act? So you're a writer. Do you do script writing? So do you think it's necessary for the people who are, or for the actors in your script to actually go through therapy before all this happens? Or do you think we are able to, this is just acting, it actually didn't happen?
It's very important. It's very important. Serious sets have that deal with such stories have therapists on site. And once you've cast the boy or the girl doing that role, even before they get to see the script, they have to be taken through counseling to like prepare them for what they're about to get themselves into. There's a show TV show in Kenya, and an actor I know who the show ended, and the role they were doing was a very triggering role because he's playing the role of a father, and the things he was doing to the son in the show were the things his dad had done to him. So I was not on that set, but now friends of mine telling me we had the other therapist on set because he'd himself break down as he is performing because he feels so shite doing that to that boy because he's seeing himself in that boy. And those are the kind of places actors or other creatives find themselves in, because you have to wear that role, you have to be that person,
you have to be that person.
And a friend of mine was joking the other day that we went to see a film. It's a film called Nawi. Kama moja watch Nawi mazi, tafuta Nawi. It's a Kenyan film. Very nice story about this young girl, 10 years I guess, in Turkana, who went through early marriage. It's a sad story. And the guy in the film that we know very well to be a very good person, and he did this role. And I left there questioning, do I really know this guy? Because he convinced me he's the monster he was in that
show.
Yeah. On this other hand, he's really a good actor to convince you that. But there's this thing where people say you have to tap, like for you to ace a role, you tap into a part of that is usually in you. Part of it. So it's you tapping into it and growing it and putting it outside. Then you can be convincing.
So how do you separate being a different person in real, because even when we're watching movies, we know the villain and we know the hero. And unfortunately, even in real life, when we are searching for the people, for the cast, you're like, this bad person. So, but that's not really who they are. So as an actor, how are you able to separate the two roles? Because you will easily end up having an alter ego. And let's just be honest, having an alter ego in real life is actually a mental issue, right? So how do you separate the two? Because you have to really take on, and even for performers on stage, like you're this introverted person when you're on your own, you're used to solitude, you're okay. But when you get on stage, you're in a place like Kisumu, where people love entertainment, and you have to just, get into that role. So how are you able to separate the two issues and that they don't get into affecting your personal life? Because that's very easy to be unable to balance, because it's very easy for you to find yourself, you're always wearing a fake facade because that's what you're used to acting. That's your profession. How do you separate the two?
There's a term called derolling, where as an actor or a performer, you're taken through a whole, it's also a therapy, for the form of therapy where you are guided professionally outside the person you'd worn, you'd had to wear.
It's actually a thing.
It's a thing. But because of budgets in Kenya, that's not happening. So many actors and creatives then find themselves in spaces where kama hao wenyewe hajatake initiative ya kujifix, they work with these roles for a very long time. There's a guy who has repeatedly done the role of a guy who is an abuser in a relationship. The dude himself is a chill guy. So we had this conversation again at the same film where this friend of mine, she's also in the mental space. She's saying, how is this guy in real life? Because I've watched him twice or thrice in films, and he's the same abuser. So even now, yes, he's an actor, but at a time as a perception, this dude could actually be an abuser. Because he's so good at it, And I in me, I was like, damn, I really hope he's derolling. I really hope he's getting help to step out of that. I want this person to meet this guy in real life and feel, you are that guy.
You're that guy.
He needs to meet a very different person. Okay, he was just acting. So yes, derolling is a thing that people should do, and it's taken seriously in the industries that began way ahead of us.
Let's not mention them.
Like this guy who played Joker, Joaquin Phoenix.
You know, like if I met him and be...
Bro. Yeah.
I mean, so which means even for me as the audience, I need to learn how to de-roll.
Yes.
Because that's not basically
and
who they
detach
are.
that umse.
Yeah.
Wanafanya tu roll.
And take away, because sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, this is the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like there's a time no mentions to whatever show that was. I literally used to go sleep. It was an action. Don't even ask why I was watching an action series. Yeah. But I used to go to sleep and dream about it.
Yeah.
Like you're literally in the actions of whatever is happening. And I had to constantly tell myself, it's either I had to stop watching it or I had to tell myself, this is an act. This is happening. And even we were making fun the other day and saying how you could have watched a series or a movie like 3 times and you're still telling them, don't go there, you're going to get it. They will still go. So at the back of your head, you have to also be aware that this is actually separate life and this is what there is. So I love what you're saying, that the creative world has the possibility of either giving us the positive side of life or the negative side of life. And I think it's our role, not even I think, it is our role to actually make a better space for the mental health of situations. And to just be aware that we have so much, not responsibility, maybe we can say that, but we have so much power to change the taboos around us. We have so much power to change whatever is happening in our society. So just maybe to ask, do you think that there's enough resources for creatives specifically when it comes to mental health? And are there people who are willing to help the creatives? And I remember when you were having a conversation, you said even for your your project, for your show, you have been looking for people to actually help. Do you think we have legit resources available?
There could be legit resources. I'm not denying that.
It's the way you're answering these questions that I've should I tell the truth or not?
Yeah. There could be legit resources, but they are few and get kept. I think there's a lot more that could be done, and resource-wise, also looking at equipping people even with just the basic skill of how to handle things. For example, the anxiety I was telling you about, and on sets you'll hardly find a set that understands people with anxiety. It's you do what you're telling you,
and do it hastily.
Yes. So what I do is, like today, as I noticed, I came early. What on nyumbani? I came early.
Yes, he did though. He really did.
Yeah. Just to
thank you.
Just to thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Just to have that. I didn't say sour at least.
Okay, that's an inside joke, but hey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what I do is I arrive early to just Now,
and you told me that when I called.
Yeah. So on sets, it's always a
let's go.
That's the pace.
Except
you do that
here,
to me,
we even gave you Nini for feeling your, like it just,
exactly, it hit the right spot. So on set, this is the pace. Mtu kama mimi na freak out vibaya sana. And it affects my performance. So then people, like resource-wise in terms of skill, people don't know on set, like the post supposed to run, the producers, the ADs, the directors can't tell, this guy is freaking out. It's where to pick a show to panlize tuende home. And then if you underperform, it then becomes si mnoma
sana venye alikuwa na audition.
But look at the difference is at the audition I was prepared.
I was prepared.
I was there was an environment that was there that had me relaxed and do this thing. So the actual day I stood up to the AD and told her, you're freaking me out and I will mess the nini. And what she answered me, I don't remember. I just remember my ears blocking it. Because I arrived early and then something happened. I didn't get to my scene. Then that happened. Now they were like, where's this dude? Alifaa kuwa hapa jana. I've been here. I've been waiting for you guys to be ready.
Since early.
Then becomes now, yo, umekuwa, twende to change, twende. In the process, I was by the time I'm getting to my lines, niko tu uko. Yeah. So I when we talk about resources, I think one of the things that like have to happen is that the people handling
the
creatives need
yeah.
to know that there's this, there's that, there's what do we do to handle these people. Even in the corporate world also, like the HR should be aware.
They should be aware.
They should tell that, okay, what do we do? The year show, one of our performers had a panic attack time. The audience is like auditorium imeja. It was a sold out show.
Yeah, say me.
I mean, do I say it was a sold out show? So it's packed. We can hear them buzzing. Lights are on. The director is like, guys, we have 5 minutes to go. This chick goes into a panic attack. I freak out too because she's beginning the show, and also I'm next after her. So then I had to tell the stage manager, yo, Cheki, you have to delay the show. She has to
give her time.
She has to relax. Yes, there's all time, whatever, but we need to give her time. And thank God for they call it girlhood or whatever. Like the other chicks in the girl power. Yeah, Viva.
Powerpuff
They
Girls.
took her into the dressing room and they, gave her a long hug and they just calmed her down, and we went into the show, and I was like, man, I wish dudes who had that kanini. So resource wise, there's that knowing how to handle that person all the way to now, where now the professionals are coming in, and even the fans to do this kind of trainings, and that has never been enough. We just don't know if this is the right word to use. We raw dog through these things.
Venye kana kam kaende.
Yes. And it is affecting so many people. Even too mtanaoni mazee, they're living their life. They have to keep up.
Then we have to keep up.
Yeah, that's what pays their bills. So, but kiukweli, I see so many people like going through facing a lot of that issues because nobody around them can handle. And then when you get like such a panic attack or the anxiety is messing you up, utasikia tu msee ni diva anajiona endo nini hapa.
They do that every other time.
People niweka uka bana, hii ni set niko nigga, I'm just going through a phase.
And remembering that we are human. We are human first. I was talking to a friend of mine who teaches kids. And I was asking her, so how do you deal with kids who are not able to practice? And it's pretty annoying when you're a teacher and you're coming to repeat the same thing that you did the last time because someone didn't do the assignment. And she was telling me the first thing she remembers is that they are human as well. Something may have happened during the week where they didn't practice or they just didn't feel like it. And that's just being a part of human, of being a part of a human being, and that normally happens. And so I think we need to also get into the space of understanding, and not saying that creatives are special. It's just that, you see, our product comes from inside us. Like it has to be, like it comes from somewhere, and if it is not, and as a voice coach, I usually tell people, however way you're able to sing is really determined by what you're feeling. You could sing really well, and maybe even your mental space is not in the right space, but there's a way you're able to control that. So but just remembering that we are human, we go through stuff, things happen, and that's totally okay. At the 145 booth, that's what we're trying to tell guys. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, but sort it out, right? And so we are trying to create a community where we can have people who are also coming on the show tell us more about themselves, and if we can actually reach out to them. So maybe as we wind up, you can tell us where we can find you. If you're able to work with someone at the 145 booth, tell us your social media platforms and sell your show to us. Over to you.
Oh my God. Wow.
Use it to just tell us where we can find you, where we can reach out when we need help.
Reach out. Like I said earlier, my usernames across all platforms is Revolutionary Speaker, from the word revolution.
Tumetoka na kuaga Goma.
Wow.
Revolutionary.
Revolutionary. I for me, the best I can offer is probably that space of like you feeling that you're not alone, a relatability, but like if you seeking like pro help, please do reach out to a professional.
Yeah.
What we'll say on my page is basically stories that make you feel like, we can do this.
Yeah.
And that's what the show Womine Experience is about. It's about creating that. It's a storytelling experience that creates that one awareness that here is where we are. Here is where we can go to, and you are not going to walk this journey alone, and invite everyone else to support us and work with us. So in case you have money lying around, don't go build a mall. Nobody cares about a mall nowadays. Please put that money on me.
Way.
And my peers. For a beautiful cause.
It is a beautiful cause, for sure.
Or put up a rehearsal space. We can come and rehearse.
Yeah.
Or put up a theater. Or a studio. Man, don't build another mall. We are tired of malls. Yeah, we need, creatives need more space to channel their such stories and push these initiatives. Yeah. And we'll be grateful for you showing up. So if you follow me on my pages, you'll see all this lineup of the next shows, next releases, posts of my ex, everything will be there.
Ugeni prepare na script mapema.
Yeah. But also, as you end up, I like to add just a little thing I'd forgotten. Mental health is often like seen as an adult problem, but it begins at the very teenage, even below, like younger than that. And as I mentioned earlier, that I work with kids in the performing arts training. That has been one of the things that I want to bridge using like those training sessions. So even before I give you a role or get to the performing day, I take time to know, like, how has you been?
What's your background?
I was privileged. I've been privileged to work with the Staré Boys Center, and as you know, it's a center, so most of the kids there are and these guys have stories that sometimes impede their is that the right word? Okay.
We shall dictionary.
Yeah, impede okay, their performance, whatever. So you can tell this guy is good, but there's something holding them back. Then you have to move away from tufanye tuende to niaje, let's go to the canteen, buy them a soda, sit down, taka ngumu, shika ngumu, niaje, nini. Then you hear, oh snap, it's a lot. And most of them, you feel a difference in how they loosen up to you, and they're friendly to you. Now they see you as a big brother, and their performance changes, not just on stage but even in the academics. So we've had such testimonies of kids who I like saying kids, students who went through that whole journey of self-awareness, and it changes how their social interactions. It makes them confident to approach people, and they even get better in the academics. So if you have a younger person around you, try and spot and notice these things as early as then, and fix that anxiety if you can, fix that imposter syndrome if you can, accommodate that ADHD at that age, because mine wasn't and now it's affecting me. But try and notice these things as young as them, as that point, and make them better people, because now I feel like they're privileged to have to grow around people who want them to not turn out like that. Yeah. So if you're around a kid, a young person, fix it as early as possible.
That makes me feel guilty, because there's a time I was a stage manager for a kids program. Niliwaharakisha, and then I remember a teacher who said, "Hey madam, hawa ni watoto, take it easy." But for me, I'm thinking this show is going live on a certain TV station. Things have to work out. Norris, thank you so much. This has been amazing, and thank you for just giving us the wisdom and helping us understand a few things. And I'm hoping that everyone who's watching this, you're able to just get something from it, and reach out, completely reach out. So thank you so much for coming to the show.
For having me.
We appreciate you. We shall keep in touch. We shall ask so many questions to make the 145 booth better. And thank you for joining us today. This is the 145 booth. Follow us on all our social media platforms at the 145 booth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Converse with us. Yeah, let's have these conversations. Let's not shy away from them. They are important in our lives. In as much as they look like they're taboos and they're probably not helping our lives, they are very important. And I hope that we are helping you catch up with your mental health. And I am your host, Lydia Ndwiga. Thank you for joining us. This is the 145 booth.